So good news for all of those who've been asking, when Elon Musk be accountable, and when will he be able to come under the shroud of secrecy of Doge and everything that he's doing? That time is now. This week, an Obama-appointed judge, Christopher Cooper, granted the Citizens for Responsible and Ethical Washington nonprofit their request that the DOGE agency abide by the Freedom of Information Act request. Now, DOGE has been trying to avoid it. The Office of Management and Budget and the Office of Personal Management, that which DOGE is under, had not been actually complying, saying, well, DOGE doesn't qualify because it's not an agency. As you know, Donald Trump has bobbed and weaved, changed and reframed the different ways that the various different agents and administrators and DOGE himself and Elon is classified. All of them are trying to avoid transparency. Elon said, we're the most transparent, which was a lie, agency ever, but they are trying to avoid it. Donald Trump even said that Elon is a special advisor and he's not an administrator, and he tried to elicit this thing called the Presidential Records Act, which would exempt documents and information exchange between presidents, or understandably so. However, Judge Cooper, an Obama-appointed judge, was not buying it, and so he granted the Citizens for Responsible and Ethical Washington's request for DOGE to replace. He says, DOGE, you're an agency. And let's look at all the different ways he pointed out that no matter what you say, your tweets, Elon Musk, your statements, Donald Trump, what you've been doing, DOGE, classifies as an agency. It walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. You can call it a non-agency if you don't want to, but so long as your actions and you're boasting about your actions doing certain things, you are an agency. So because you're an agency, you're subject to Freedom of Information Act requests, which means by March 20th, get these documents out here. And the documents that they have to submit are going to be records. And I'm going to talk later on after this video for my private communities, how that is a setup for Elon Musk being arrested, because we know Brian Bondi's not going to arrest him or charge him. We know Donald Trump could probably pardon him if he's federally criminally prosecuted, but there is a way to get Elon in jail. I'm going to talk about it in my private community in a video after this. So if you're a member, check that video out. But for purpose of this video, let's go through what Judge Cooper found and what he said. Here he says that DOGE, to date, reportedly has taken wide-scale action in service of its stated goals to reduce the government spending and shrink the federal workforce. For instance, Mr. Musk claimed credit for placing large numbers of USAID workers on leave. Like, he said that. Now, why is that important? Judge Cooper points out that the DOGE service has substantial authority independent of the president, and he's given the DOGE service authority to implement the DOGE agenda, not just advise the president. So Donald Trump tried to say, oh, he's just an advisor. And Judge Cooper's like, no, I'm not buying this, because all of his actions are like an agency, an independent agency, albeit one that was not authorized or created by Congress. It's really unique. But given what DOGE is doing, you can't. He points out here that DOGE has been making cuts with no congressional input whatsoever. It's unprecedented. Like, where have we seen this before? Never. He notes here that DOGE employees have been asked to identify themselves, and they did not. So they're operating under the shroud of secrecy, despite the fact that they are acting like an agency. And when some people identified some of the DOGE employees and tweeted out, Elon Musk said it's a crime to identify their names. No, when you're working with the government, Elon, transparency, openness, there's no secrecy in government agency, fool. The court notes here that Elon tweeted that he eliminated DI-related contracts, $1 billion, that he's canceling contracts. Musk tweeted, put the USAID through a wood chipper. And right after he said that, there was reports out there that the USAID actually had been shuttered down. He was offering employees, using his Twitter service, to solicit folks and solicit jobs for United States for the DOGE service under the government. And that judge also noted that the infamous fork in the road. Here, Judge Cooper points out that canceling any government contract would seem to require substantial authority, and canceling them on this scale certainly does. Essentially saying it was a lie. Donald Trump, you lied to say that Elon is just an advisor. You deputized him the ability to usurp, to go over the traditional ways and steps and rules that we use to create agencies with this type of wide-ranging authority with no oversight whatsoever. You deputized this guy unlawfully, if you ask me, and and he's acting as an agency, and then to try to couch him and say, oh, he's just an advisor. Advisors just tell you what to do. Advisors aren't given the right to do stuff, not in our history, not in our government. So 238 years it took to develop this government. We have process, rules, and procedures. Donald Trump's trying to just skirt all over those and just do whatever, run roughshod, and think he can get away with it. But seemingly he can get away with it. I just implore all of you guys to be patient, to know that in due time, this is going to end well for them. I know people find that hard to believe because Donald Trump himself specifically have evaded so much accountability for his lawlessness for his entire life. I think since he was born, he's hatched out of his mother's womb. He's a troublemaker. See Mary Trump's book, his cousin, about how much he was a troublemaker to his mom. But they're going to be held accountable. And this is part of the first step of it, being the FOIA. Because the thing about it is, if he does not comply with the Freedom of Information request, there are remedies, including jail time. Criminal jail time. I know people don't think that potentially because Pam Bondi, who is a election denier and a Trump loyalist, will not prosecute Elon Musk for violating this. And then if he were prosecuted somehow by some other attorney general, Donald Trump will pardon him anyway. However, there's other means, and I'm going to talk about that in my private video after this one. So take a check out of that one if you remember my private community, where I go in deeper on that. But that is great news that we're seeing the first accountability. And I'm going to do another video after this talking about Judge Tanya Chutkan, who has been the chess player in all this, and how her chess playing continues, and her being the first person to make Elon Musk actually have to make some statements under oath, sworn statements, because you know that the House representatives and the Senate have been having these hearings, and he refuses to show up. He sends his minions, and he thinks because he's not subpoena, this is why we need to flip the House at least, so they have subpoena authority. Right now they don't. Once we flip them, they could actually subpoena him, and if he doesn't come, they can throw him in jail. So while he's not showing up, Judge Chutkan is the first person to actually make him have to make sworn statements. And I'm going to talk about that in another video. So check that out after this one. But if you're a member of the membership community, check out my follow-up to this video saying how we're going to actually use this. Anyway, so this is all good news. And so they have the until March 20th. We'll see what happens. Keep your fingers crossed. It's coming to an end, Elon. Got our eyes set on you. It's coming to an end. All right. Follow some more JJ Legal on all socials, and consider getting my outlasting47.com tracker, where you can click, link, follow, support, donate to, track all these different cases, and support the organizations, unions, associations, and that are filing these lawsuits against the Trump administration, and support their activities. You can also, there's a case tracker in there. In the back of it, there's a bingo. Right now, the bingo is about whether or not Donald Trump's picks will get confirmed. Once they're all confirmed, the bingo will shift to who's going to go next. We'll have a bingo card for who's going to either resign or get kicked out of the cabinet. So just a good way to gamify the 47th tyranny. While we're subjected to it, you might as well have a little bit of fun. See you soon. In the meantime, if you are watching this on YouTube or TikTok, I have several playlists here that you can enjoy with various different videos about fighting the power, about information, about the Trump presidency, about what's next, how we are actually surpassing this tyranny, and including some private videos. If you're a member of the private community and you missed some, they're there for you.